As a customer relationship professional, consistently making a positive company statement is key in your effort in generating loyalty because it addresses the second decision your customer will make, your company. Up to this point in the conversation, you have invested time gathering information. You have demonstrated your interest in understanding the customer's situation. By doing this, you have impacted the customer's first decision about you, the customer relationship professional. Once your customer decides that they are eager to work with you, their next decision will be about your company, the people and resources that stand behind you.
Your positive company statement is the primary tool you have to position your organization in the marketplace relative to your competition. It also demonstrates how other customers have benefited from their business relationship with your company. Since many of the facts about your company wouldn't change from one customer conversation to another, a portion of your positive company statement can be documented and standardized. However, because your company is typically part of the solution you'll be presenting, it's important to be flexible enough to tie your Act 5 company story to the needs of your customer that you uncovered during Act 3 and agreed on in Act 4.
Here's an example where the CRP's company statement really misses the mark. Notice what decision the customer focuses on when this happens.
I'm looking forward to seeing how your new service can help me.
Great. I have a lot of things for you today. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our company, Kerber, Dale & Vincent. We're one of the largest firms in the country. Our clients include some of the largest commercial accounts in the world. We have 12 offices across the United States, and we have the largest inventory of any firm in this region.
They're big? I prefer small. That's exactly what I don't like about my current provider. I prefer someone who cares about small clients. I don't think these guys are for me.
Our professional staff has the expertise to handle the largest, most complex client needs.
Well, if I need to go with another big firm, their fees will have to be better than what I'm getting now. What are your fees like?
Well, they're pretty good.
This conversation is headed for disaster. The customer wants to work with the small company to get the personal attention she feels she needs. As you can see, if she can't perceive getting what she wants from your company, other decisions such as price become a more important decision factor. It's obvious that Christine either didn't discover the customer's need for the capabilities that are provided by her company before she made her positive company statement, or her statement lacked a structure that would allow her to tie back to the specific needs of her customer. In any case, Christine needs to tailor her positive company statement to meet the previously agreed upon needs of her customer.
In order to keep the customer positive and focused on the presentation of your company's capability, we recommend the use of a more disciplined approach. We call it the TFBR method. TFBR stands for tieback, when you refer to prior input from your customer. Feature, when you explain what it is. Benefit, when you explain what results the customer can expect from owning the feature. And reaction, when you ask the customer how the benefit would impact them.
A tieback simply reminds the customer of a need or concern they expressed during Act 3. Examples of tieback starters include, you mentioned that, you indicated you were, I know you place a great deal of importance on, you shared a concern about, you stated you were interested in, or you told me you wanted.
When presenting a feature, never assume the customer will automatically relate it to a benefit. In reality, customers don't really care much about features. They care about the benefits. The old saying, they don't need quarter-inch drills, they need quarter-inch holes, is still correct. Customers want to know what the feature will do for them. The R in TFBR stands for reaction. It is a question you will ask the customer. Reaction questions should be open-ended. Since you're doing most of the talking in Acts 5 and 6, it's important for you to draw the customer into the discussion periodically. This helps them pay attention to what you're saying because they stay involved in the communications process. Most importantly, A good reaction question helps clearly communicate their interest in what you're presenting. This is when you are most likely to hear what we call a buying signal. It indicates that the customer has most likely made a positive decision about you and your company. An example of a reaction question that you would use after you've presented a feature and benefit would be, how would you see this working in your situation?
Hopefully you'll have the opportunity to present multiple TFBRs. During Act 5, you should present one TFBR. In the next act, Act 6, your solution presentation, we recommend that you use one or two TFBRs. We'll discuss this in the next module. In addition, it's important to recognize that up through Act 4, you've been focusing on the first customer decision, which is about you. The purpose of Act 5, Positive Company Statement, is to successfully handle the second decision by explaining a powerful company capability that is relative to the information you have gathered in Act 3 and agreed on in Act 4. There are usually three primary questions in your customer's mind regarding your company, and they are, what does your company do? What is your company's reputation? And why is your company a good match for me? The answers to these three questions will be included in your positive company statement.
You should know the positive aspects of your company well enough to apply them to the specific needs you discovered in Act 3. You should be able to deliver a 3-minute version and a 30-second version of Act 5. You'll choose which version to use depending on the decision cycle milestone you are in. Remember, the positive company statement is the primary tool you have to position your organization as a solution and differentiate it from the competition.
Certain situations may only allow you a few seconds to describe your company, and sometimes that's all the time you need. But you should always be prepared to deliver a more detailed company presentation if necessary. Now, here's an easy transition to provide a bridge from Act 4, Agree on Need, to Act 5, Positive Company Statement. You can use this in most situations. How much information do you know about what's new and exciting at my company? After they answer the question, you say, let me quickly cover a couple of things that I think will be important to you, okay? After this transition statement, simply fill in the answers to the three questions you know are in your customer's mind and use a TFBR to make sure your answers tie back to a need or issue you've already uncovered. Now, let's look at Christine's customer conversation when she is properly in action.
I'm looking forward to seeing how your new services can help me.
How much information do you know about what's new and exciting at my company, Kerber, Dale, and Vincent?
Just what you told me last week on the phone.
Let me quickly cover a couple of things that I think would be important to you, okay?
Okay.
You told me earlier that you wanted a single point of contact for services. At KDV, we pride ourselves on being able to deliver personalized service no matter how complex your needs might be. I will be personally handling your account. That means that regardless of what your requirements for service might be, you will always have me as your primary contact. Many of our clients have made KDV their first choice for that very reason. At my company, you can have both high-quality personal service and extensive capability at the same time. How does that fit with what you had in mind?
Well, that sounds a lot like what I'm looking for.
Well done, Christine. She followed the TFBR steps perfectly to present her company capability, and she achieved the second decision. Act 5 should be used even with customers who you have spoken with many times before. You obviously wouldn't make a detailed company presentation. But instead, when you complete Act 5, you'll make a brief positive statement about your company. This statement could concern a new employee, an improved service, new acquisitions, positive financial news, or a new product or service. Really anything that will help present your company positively to your customer every time you meet with them.
Why is it important to always make a positive company statement? There are two big reasons. The first is because you have competition and they unsell your company by telling your customers positive information about their company. In fact, some competitors make negative comments about their competition. The second reason has to do with the marketing of your company. Let me explain. Let's say that you make an average of 40 customer contacts per day. In a week, that's 200. In a year, that's 10,000 contacts. Now, as an example, if you have 100 CRPs in your company, we're talking about 1 million positive impressions. Regardless of how many CRPs you have, it's a big number, isn't it? To make that many positive impressions with a marketing campaign would require an enormous marketing budget. It's free if CRPs always do Act 5 on every customer contact.
So to summarize Act 5, positive company statement, remember, first, the sequence is important. Be sure to place this step in between Act 4 and Act 6 so that it follows the order of the customer's decisions. Second, prepare a company statement by answering the 3 questions. What does your company do? What is your company's reputation? And why is your company a good match for them? And finally, be sure you use a TFBR to tie your positive company statement back into the information that you gathered during Act 3 when you asked the best questions.
The next segment is a discussion of Act 6. Present your solution. See you then.